Hello.
Welcome.
Hello.
Welcome. Pre-show, full effect. I want to give a shout out to our European pre-show for launching us today.
Thank you very much.
Great job. For those of you joining, welcome. We are few, but we are mighty. So yeah, let's take over. We're in Twitch. You can check us out, talk to us in Twitch chat, hashtag NPL if you want to see it pop up. I'm joined by Cameron and, of course, Microstar.
Yeah.
Hello.
If you don't, he's wearing the tempo gear to help tip you off a little bit.
Yes.
But he is the man behind the champions of NPL.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we're at Relegations here. You guys won the league, so obviously don't have to worry about all of this. But before we get into that, do you want to tell us a little bit what it's like to work behind the scenes with such a prolific performing team?
I mean, they work hard. They all work hard. Yeah.
So they
Well
work
said.
hard. Tell me how you work hard. What is it that you do with the team specifically?
Yeah, so we do a lot of VOD review. It's also making sure people are working on improving, if it's aim work, if it's tactical work. We do a lot of stuff outside of PUBG with other programs like Kovacs.
Would you call yourself the most important or the least important member of Tempo
The players are more important than me, but I like to think I help them out a little bit, you know.
I hope so.
Yeah.
All right, fair enough. On a side note, you guys remember the Happy Face contest we had yesterday?
Yeah.
Apparently Rachel went home and worked all night on a piece of art to have a competition with us. So I want to show that. Give me the fish cam.
Give me the fish.
Rachel Seltzer's beautiful piece of artwork there.
It's nice. I like it.
I like it. That was you, right? I thought you left it on my desk on purpose.
It's my anime wife.
Oh, it's her anime wafer. I don't know.
Here.
I don't know what that is. It's like a
Yes, sure.
wafer, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, let's talk about where we're at. We're sort of the pre-show today. For those of you who are just tuning in, this is not your typical NPL day. This is relegations or promotionals. It's starting to feel like promotionals with the amount of teams that we're going to have moving up with their performances this week.
Yeah, at this point.
Top 6 teams go to the top 6 teams come to split 2 of NPL.
Yes.
Bottom 10 teams go to contenders and have to fight for their chance to come back. There's a lot that goes into that. Let's start out with top 6.
Yeah.
Who do you think is going to come out on top today and advance to NPL? Me and Cameron wrote our picks down earlier along with Matchroom, Poro, and Rachel. We haven't asked you yours yet, so who's your 6?
Yeah, Denial. I mean, they've been playing really well for me. Denial, SSG, Mustache Dave. I'd like to see Reinvent get there. Old teammate of mine, but
That's fair. So there's a little bit of like a personal desire because they have 26 points right now. The cutoff is 42.
yeah, I think any team could make it right now. I mean, you can.
Well, I mean, there's always the dream, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Noble could win 2.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, so let's be real. Even though you got a team like Denial who is way in the lead, the center of the leaderboard is actually quite close. There is, and with still a whole third of the event to happen, like there could be a lot of upsets in that entire middle of the pack. I don't think anyone outside of maybe the top 2 teams are like for sure decided. And even you could make an argument that even the second place team isn't guaranteed yet. It's only Denial that I think that is guaranteed top 6.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Let's go to chat here. A lot of people seem to be making fun of the fact that we have an EU caster on the NPL. And we actually joked about that earlier today. You are from England, right?
Yeah.
What do you call it? The UK, England, the British Isles?
Whatever you want.
Okay, so, but I heard that your Brexit has already come through. You've basically been playing in NA for 2 years. you think of yourself as an NA guy. Is that true?
I mean, yeah, but I support NA on the argument if we're talking NA against EU.
You have to. He's only the coach of the best performing
right.
team in North America. He's kind of contractually obligated to defend the
How many
region.
slots do you think North America is going to have for the World Championship?
How many can we get?
6, I think, is our max.
6 then.
All right. So I like that kind of. I like that strong pick. Cameron, who are your 6 to finish to the top?
Denial
today?
player 1, Dave, Lazarus, E United, SSG.
Okay, I have Denial United player 1, SSG, Dave, and Lazarus. So essentially the same. We wrote them down off camera, and we'll show you at some point today so we can hold ourselves responsible. But we thought it'd be fun to take some picks.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Let's see. Seltzer is the most interesting one for me. She gave a lot of credit to some teams I think some of us didn't expect. So she went ahead and selected some typical ones, Denial, Oxymoron. But the surprise picks from Rachel are
welcome to the NPL Relegations. I'm Microstaff from Temper Storm.
I'm Matrim, and that's Porosaurus over there.
Hey.
We are getting everything ready for the NPL Relegations, the last day. And naturally, we have a guest that you've already been introduced to over here. We got some Tempo Storm knowledge coming at you in-game today.
Yikes.
Yeah, maybe a little bit, yeah.
Oh, just a little bit.
I
I mean,
give
you're
us
just a
all
coach
the
for it.
strategies, everything you know. Need to know how to come in first place in competitive PUBG.
No-
You're about
no-
to find out. Tune in.
No leaks.
No pressure.
No
No
leaks.
pressure.
No leaks.
All right.
No leaks.
If we're not going to do leaks,
Fired already.
can we at least
Come on.
address something that happened yesterday? We had some of these players that were up here saying, oh, nobody's afraid of Tempo Storm. And then you kind of joined in chat and said, I don't necessarily agree. Do you care to elaborate?
I mean, I think you'd be foolish not to be scared of Tempo Storm right now.
Damn right. That's the way I
true.
see it. I mean, I've personally seen a few teams like take a shot and all of a sudden they get down and they realize it's Tempo Storm and they're like, we're out of here and run away.
Yeah.
So
Safe
I
res. I'll
firmly
be
do
damned
say-
if you're a safe res. You just went.
So with this, guys, we are doing the last day of relegation. So 4 more games to decide the top 6 teams that will be moving on to NPL Phase 2. 10 teams are not going to make it, and it's going to be a lot of inspiration and heartbreak today.
Well, let me tell you, it is close, though.
Yeah.
I mean, we're talking all the way down to 11th place, really still has a shot at this. Anybody in the top 8 really still has a chance to kind of fall out if they have a bad day. So everybody still needs to be on their game. Nobody can really rest easy at this point.
Yeah, Toffees was talking about the fact that we had to do like predictions with our 6 teams we think that are going to make it. I gotta say, I'm not even 100% certain on any of the ones that I picked. I mean, Denial's doing really well. Mustache Dave's up there, but I mean, bad days can happen. It's really close.
Like, good days can happen as well.
Truth.
I mean, yeah, Envy with the 59-point win in week 3. So even the team at bottom right now could make it.
Well, I mean, even going back to our original promotional matches going into NPL qualifiers, Tempo was kind of sitting outside of that top 16 going into the last day, but had a great final day, managed to make your way up, and look what happened from there.
Yeah.
Well, we keep talking about, okay, how are they going to do it? Who's going to make it? Let's go ahead and give you a little bit more of a breakdown on how all of the points work inside of this, how teams are going to be accumulating these points to make it into NPL Phase 2.
Let's do it. All right. First place takes home a big 10 points, followed by 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, all the way down to 8th place, and then 0 points from 9th through 16th. But the big factor on the table, that 1 point per kill, Microstar, those are so important.
Oh, yeah. I mean, kills mean everything.
Well, I mean,
mean everything.
I'm setting you up for like the most obvious. Finally, let me tell you how. Let me give you like 30 seconds on why killers are important. But yeah, and you can also see the first through 6 are going to be the ones advancing into the National PUBG League for Phase 2 for North America. Everybody else going back down to contenders.
Well, we keep talking about how close it is. Look at this. We got Denial up at the top, a little comfortable with 72 points. But then Mustache Dave, 60 points. E-United, 59. Player One Esports, tied 59. Oxymoron, tied 59. Space Station Gaming, 58. And then right back behind that, in that 7th spot, not quite in the top 6 yet, Lazarus with 55. Look at that, 2nd through 7th, 5-point differential.
I mean, there's so many teams that still have a lot riding on this these last 4 games. Obviously, I mean, I don't think you can really write anybody out. Even our bottom of the table, things aren't looking so great. You have a couple of good games here, put things together, you can come out on top. But since we are in that final day, let's go over the tiebreakers first. Total kill points across all matches. Second will be the highest total points earned in a single match, and then we'll start going down to most recent match. So we have this squared away all the way through 5 places. So
There is absolutely no
hopefully-
chance we will not know who's going through today. But what's weird is we already see so many ties right now that we're having to use this system.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you came into today, Microstar, your team was tied like that, do you really think about that tie, or are you thinking about your points at all even, or are you just thinking one game at a time?
I always like to take it one game at a time. I think you start getting ahead of yourself when you're in the game, thinking, oh, this team's near us and the points are the nearest, so you start worrying. Can we kill those people? Can we not?
Speaking of taking it one game at a time, if you guys have been tuning in, we're going to be doing a little bit of a listen-in with some of the other players. We're going to get an idea on what's going on with their comms. So if you see this little icon up here in the bottom left, that means us casters are going to shut up, which I know chat always loves. And then we're going to go ahead and listen into the comms and how everybody is going to be communicating in these last couple of fights.
Yeah, we've seen some interesting comms, some good comms coming from teams like Denial. We've had some pretty hectic comms coming from Lazarus, some excited, fun comms coming from E United. What would Tempo's coming to be?
I mean, I don't think we can talk about that.
Oh, there you go. All right. Well, here's how we're going to decide who we watch today going into all 4 matches. We're going to be looking at that cusp right on the edge, teams 5, 6, 7, and 8, to find out who makes the top 6 and who falls below the cut line going back to contenders. First game, checking in on Space Station, Lazarus, Oxy, and Team Crew.
Any of these stand out to you, the ones that we're going to be watching? I know these are all the ones that are right in that go-between spot. We've got Oxy in 5th, Space Station in 6th, Lazarus 7th, Crew in 8th. What's your kind of predictions going with these guys?
I'm expecting to see good things out of Space Station and Oxy today.
I have to say, I love Oxy. Like, these guys are so nice. They're right in that cusp location. Actually, Lazarus, I kept talking about they're kind of my pocket pick. I thought that they'd be making it, but they're so close. But with this, we're getting in that time. Let's do a quick pass by. Look at all the teams, everybody getting ready for it. But Space Station Gaming, these are the guys that just kind of slipped into relegations. Nobody was expecting them to be here.
Yeah, you have that. I mean, look, you guys looking ready at this point, Micro. You know, when we're here on the stage, you have that period of time between the last scrim game and the time that the games actually kick off. It's a really nerve-wracking time, especially on days like today when there's so much on the line. What are you telling your players here to get them kind of mentally focused for what's to come?
I mean, that's pretty much it. You're trying to get them in that mindset to go out and not rest and take it easy on the first game. You need to come out strong straight away. If you have a bad first game, you're struggling.
Nobody wants to have that bad first game. Hey, they're having fun in the crowd today. As we check in on Space Station, they are sitting okay right now at in the top 6, but still have a little work left ahead of them. Smurf doesn't seem to be too concerned.
Smurf is never worried. Anytime the camera comes onto him, he's always got something. I'm pretty sure we all know what that hand motion was supposed to mean, or what he wants us to believe that it means. But all right, Lazarus over here. They're getting all situated. And keep in mind, these guys are in 7th right now. You can see the seriousness kicking in. Oxy as well. They know that they're in a dangerous spot. It's so close in those top 6 spots.
And we need to see, I want to see Oxy get a little bit more kills here. I mean, they're doing great so far as placement points, but the kill points a little bit low compared to where they are in the leaderboard.
Yeah, sometimes you get those circles and you just don't get the right shift to get those kills fed to you. Sometimes you do. Like, they could have sat in those compounds and came out with 20 kills.
My question comes in with Crew. They narrowly missed being in the NPL. And right now they're making their 2nd attempt at making the NPL again, right out of that spot to get them inside of the NPL. Are they going to finally make it, or is it going to be 2 times in a row they narrowly miss it? But here we go. Day number 3, match number 1, making our way over towards Erangel.
There we go. There's a nice little plane path there going on the far leftern. There we go. We're going leftern.
I like Leftern.
You like that?
Leftern is a good place to be.
The leftern west side here. Everybody on the western coast here should be pretty happy. Might see some teams dropping for cause. This could make Military Island a little bit spooky here, as we see Reinvent going to go ahead and drop where OC and Trifecta usually drop. But I feel like Reinvent maybe going just for cars here. Yeah, that was.
I think that we saw them several times make their way over towards that Novo area and kind of hang out around there. We also saw Trifecta in the last game on Erangel yesterday. Remember, they had that little bit of a skirmish with E United where they took a couple of pot shots at the boat and then came back to bite them. So curious to see on how they make maneuver here. But Oxy doesn't look like they're doing anything crazy. They love making their way up towards the north, and that's going to be their home.
Oh, they have a lot of territory to claim up here in North George. Even farther north here, as we see Basher going all the way up near Zarky here to find himself a vehicle. So Oxy feeling pretty good about their situation. Where's our circle going to take us? All the way on the western coast. This is going to be interesting. Good for the plane path, but not so good for those teams that are having to drive away and then come back in.
It's a good tempo circle.
It is an amazing tempo stream. Okay, so we often talk about, like, we have Lazarus that's kind of doing what you guys do with the Gatco, like split looting. Whenever you get the circle pop on you, it really does it really affect the timings on how you guys have to regroup whenever you're doing that 4-man split looting strategy?
Yeah, if you get the circle, you need to be moving a lot quicker and make sure you're secure in the buildings you want. You don't want a team coming from further away
Nothing worse than that 4v1 push super early. So how do you guys work on the timings for that? I know you don't want to leak any strats, but can you at least like hint to the idea on how you guys decide what timings on how you move?
Yeah, it's just essentially you get the items you need. The first person that has that, they need to go straight away if it was this circle. So you'd be looking for somebody to move probably within the next 30 seconds and at the latest.
And then they just regroup with somebody else and cover them, or what's the mindset behind that? You just go ahead and say, this is the place that we're all going to regroup at, and so the person's going to cover that spot, or how does that work?
I mean, if I was Lazarus now, I'd be looking to take some sort of split. I don't know what they'd feel the most comfortable doing, but making sure that you can get a good spot into the third and fourth circles.
Do you think with these new super loot settings, it's kind of made your life, your team's life, a little bit easier with the split loot strat?
I think, I mean, yeah, played right into that loot patterns position, because the city's already kind of had better loot, but it's those areas where you were always struggling.
And so you guys can kind of get an idea on what we're talking about with the risk on it. You can see on the mini-map, Lazarus separates out around the Gatka area, and naturally this is Tempo Storm's known looting strategy. They've been doing it for forever, even before like we have the super loot that we have now. But it just creates this little bit of a hazard, as this is also territory that other teams are going to want to take, so they might come over here and try to crash locations. So you can see it becomes a big factor on timing and maneuverability. Space Station Gaming already on a move. We've seen them, they like to play around the southern area.
See, they have D-Master all the way up to the north, scouting out for them a little bit while they reconnect on the southern side before heading up towards those yellows where he's currently holding just to the south of Pachinki.
What's kind of interesting about Space Station, we've talked about it in the NPL, they tend to be a little bit more passive. They like to sneak into circles and then take the really late game fights. It seemed like we're seeing a little bit more of a modification inside the relegation series. Not necessarily happy that they ended up here, so being a little bit more active, going for a couple of more kills. And I gotta say, I really like seeing this come out of them, but it has backfired in their face.
I think it was a necessary change for them.
Yeah.
To make something happen. They've struggled this whole season.
I will say that over the course of these 8 games for relegation, it seems like they're a lot quicker in the early game. They're not as I don't want to say lazy, but they're not as slow with their early game looting strategy. It seems like they're being they're kind of adopting that Cloud9, that tempo mentality of let's get the looting phase over as quick as possible and try to get our spot that we want to play from, especially in situations like this where the circle falls right on top of it.
Talked to a couple of the more aggro team players, and they're like, it's always more important to get the position, it feels like, with these new settings. So if I don't necessarily get the loot, I just want to go ahead and get in the spot where I can kill somebody and get the loot that I didn't get. And I think that's kind of a fun mindset to have moving into this. And I gotta say, we talk about confidence and all this other stuff, but the confidence to take these early game fights, we can't talk about how risky it is when you lose one of those members in an early skirmish. But speaking of early skirmishes, we got Lego Your Ego, a couple of shots coming their way from Tetra off the side of it, but nothing too terribly scary.
Zainite gonna take a few bullets to the side of the shoulder. Should survive for now, as Lego Your Ego's now got to be careful about running a little bit close to Lazarus, trying to find a home in this just to the south of the Gatka Fields here. Going to keep on pushing though, getting a little bit split, however, as the second half of their team got pushed out. It looks like they got stopped here by Denial.
Yeah, Lazarus decided to come over here to this Wizard Tower, which has great sight lines around it. You can see obviously trying to catch a couple of points in rotation. Whenever you move to this spot in a circle like this is saying, I want to try to at least get 1 or 2 points to move me into a nice spot, so that way I feel very comfortable in it. And you gotta remember, Lazarus is only 3 points out of 6th place right now. So they're just hunting any point that they can find.
Well, Lazarus has been doing pretty good as far as the kill counts go. I mean, they still have obviously a little bit of work to do. I feel like they could be playing a little bit better as far as their placement points are concerned. But the kills are there. Now they just need to kind of tie it all together and find themselves in the end game.
Lego Your Ego finally meeting up. They decided that maybe we don't want to go all the way down there and just spend about like last minute or so just driving around Lazarus, letting them practice their aim for a minute.
So let me ask you this. When Tempo sees this circle, what are the power points of this circle? Do you try to go towards the center, or are there more specific points that you would prefer to play to try to catch people in rotation maybe?
I think it's
without giving too much away.
Lazarus, they must have looked at what we do.
Okay.
I mean, you're a team to study without a doubt. I would say that if you're looking to perform and get some wins and get some points, Tempo Storm's not the worst team to glance at.
That's definitely, God Compound is a good compound to take, for sure. You get a lot of shifts there.
So as the coach, does that kind of flatter you that other teams looking to slightly mimic your style?
I mean, teams would be foolish not to right now, I think.
I love it. Subtle slams around. It's like, yeah, you'd be foolish not to look at us and want to do what we do.
Well, I mean, I think it's dead true. I mean, at this point, you've got NPL and PKL that have played through full seasons now, and with this new point structure, with the new circle settings, I think it's definitely you want to look at the top teams and see what they're doing and try to emulate that as we see United making their way through, but they might run into Crew here at these yellows. Crew out in the open.
Here we go, a couple of shots now coming over towards E United. Just gonna catch a little bit of airtime, but does not matter as Pistola Time gets caught inside of this. Geist jumps out of the vehicle. It continues rolling away, providing no cover. He's just trying to make it back behind some trees. Finally managed to get over there. Pistola Time, though, I think he's just done and out as you see the burning UAZ just rolling off into the distance.
Oh, that feels bad for E United. They've been trying so hard to fix this out. You can check out Vac trying to come in here and get a different angle here. Crew wants to finish this off as quickly as possible so they can get their 2 points and get back to their location, and there it is. Mystery gonna land the shots on Geist, and that's E United down 2.
That is a lot of control coming out from Crew, and E United, they got into that top 6 yesterday off of a phenomenal game, but this is not the way they wanted to start.
So unfortunate rotation there from E United. Does it feel like, I mean, obviously you've been watching the games. What do you think the issues are for E United lately?
I thought they were looking a lot better yesterday, but I think it's a confidence thing. I think when they've got that confidence, they play really well.
Alas, Dash. We knew you so well.
Yeah, I think that's now 3 down for VG, if I'm not right.
That was way out inside the blue, too.
Yeah.
So there's a skirmish that's going on between Trifecta and Vicious Gaming
they did
for
get the
whatever
residence, okay.
reason going on over there. We got Oxy that's kind of playing down around this location, getting a little bit of vision. You can see new circle pops, and let's just go ahead and keep a little bit more water in it. What is it with professional PUBG games and water the past 2 days?
So, okay, you liked Lazarus's position in the first circle there, Micro. Where you see they're already in their vehicles, they're already on the move here. SSG as well. Where do you like here? Are you a quarry guy? Are you trying to go for middle? Or are you trying to go for a high ground?
Oh no, Smurf!
Uh-oh.
Smurf, why do you do this to yourself? You can ride it. You got it. You got it.
It's fine.
I think the position they had, I think they're going back to it actually. God Compound's still good in this, because you're still expecting it to shift up water at some point, fourth circle. Should still be a really good compound.
So maybe a little second guessing themselves here.
So when you're referring to God Compound, you're talking about that set of reds that are just to the south of or just to the west of the Wizard Tower that they were just at, if you guys are familiar with it. And a lot of people like to drop around it. It's got that little like ridge with the road going next to it off of one side. You can see Lazarus on the map there. That's where they're posted up at. Now it's just about rotations, and there's still a lot of good spots to play from. But you can see towards the center, it's starting to get pretty thick pretty quickly as Trifecta and Reinvent. Trifecta will never make it inside the safe zone, it feels, as CeeLo's going to get targeted. A couple of bullets coming his way, and he narrowly makes it away from that. Did he have 1 hit point left?
He had about maybe 4 left, and fortunately for him, he was outside of the blue, so doesn't end up going down to that as E United just running into more problems here. Taylor J already down to half health. Oxy trying to push this, and that's going to do it. E United going out in 16th place.
It's not the start you want.
Not at all. Not at all. Especially when you have, I mean, they do have enough. I mean, they started today in 3rd place, but going out 16th with 0 kills, you cannot afford to have that happen here on the last day.
Especially when you're a team that's heavily built around playing confidently.
Snowballing.
Yeah. That's hard to come back from for them.
I mean, we talk a lot about the importance of momentum, you know, feeling like you're in the groove, getting those kills. I mean, I know Tempo Storm, we talk about it a lot. It feels like if you guys get an early skirmish that works out for you, you get a couple of kills. Next thing you know, they're just hunting everything in the world. Jay Sank Clam got a grenade that's going to land up right over there next to him. I think, was that a smoke that
Yeah,
up
he's
there?
just trying to throw down a smoke would prevent Microfry from constantly irritating the absolute crap out of them. As you see Trifecta and Reinvent also still getting involved in a fight here. Clam should be okay here.
This is the longest res in history, it feels like. How long have they been there? Finally, we get them back up.
There it is. You see Denial kind of overlooking this as well. They played it pretty quietly up until this point. No shots taken just yet, but it looks like they might start getting involved here pretty soon now that they have the information.
Well, we had Felix that was doing a little bit of an extension away from Lazarus, got cut out by Space Station Gaming there. So now Lazarus does have a strong compound, but did lose 1 member. What do you think they were thinking with that push out? Was it just to get a little bit more information? Is that why they sent the 1 member out of what was a fairly safe complex?
I'd imagine so, yeah. They'd be looking to grab some more information, like you say, yeah.
So like the south side, particularly of that compound, is maybe where you want to go to. It's where you have the least amount of information just from sitting there and staring and using your skills. So you see SSG getting a little bit of a vision here on to P1 Esports in the swamp.
Still a lot of teams in the blue.
Yeah, this is crazy. I mean, they just keep running into each other. I mean, Elevate and VG. At first, it was VG and Trifecta, right? Trifecta tried to escape. They run into Reinvent, and VG keeps going down. They run into Elevate. This is wild.
Wynn's trying to line up the shot, catch him. A couple of Player One Esports as they move, but I really like the spot that we can see from Space Station Gaming now. What's interesting though, Space Station Gaming is notorious for trying to push in and get like a complex and sneak into that spot like we were talking about earlier. Now they're kind of forced into an edge strategy, and look at how much more active they're trying to be. They're trying to catch anybody that they can that's moving around them. The problem with it is most teams are kind of already situated, so they're kind of in a risky spot, so it comes down to just fighting Player One Esports.
I feel like Trifecta has probably used more heals and more health than anybody else in this tournament up to this point, just because of how long they eat the blue for.
Well, that's so big, because think about it, now they're going to move into the mid game where all the skirmishes are at, and they've been having to use all of their stims just to survive the blue at this point.
It's the way, it's a style of play that they've elected to be best for them, and I'm not sure if they might not want to go back to the drawing board on that one. As you see, Player One Esports going to avoid some fire, but they're going to pull right up on Mustache Dave. They want this.
Caden is holding that angle, but a drive-by shot coming out and is going to take down Caden to open up the doors. So now Player One Esports pushing right up into Mustache Dave's face. Caden's now down, and he's just going to get flushed here really quickly. Microfry lost, still playing around this position. Microfry really in the dangerous spot. Off in the distance, Godspeed was playing the high ground on that hill, so he's now having to reposition to try to meet back up with his team, or maybe just Uber his way over there to pick them back up and get out of this fight.
Yeah, it looks like Los is just kind of pulling off of this, maybe trying to reposition outside of the compound, see if he can, they've got a vehicle just waiting right here. Maybe see if they can take the fight from a little bit different angle. But yeah, they got just run up on here by Player One Esports, so you gotta see that coming though.
I mean, Player One Esports, man, they're playing like they want this. You can tell. They're like, every single time they approach anything, they're playing with such an absolute level of confidence. I love to see it.
Oh, yeah. That was a very confident push.
Yeah, they just turned straight into gunfire coming at them, and they're like, yeah, we're going to go ahead and win this. That's fine.
I mean, given how Mustache Dave was split there, do you think they were just not expecting anybody to come up there?
Probably. I'm surprised that they ran away from it. I think that would be a good compound in the next circle. I think they should have taken that fight and tried to take the points, but I guess not as confident as P1E right now.
Here comes Mustache Dave trying to go for a reposition with that. You saw that Godspeed had to give up that high ground spot. He was playing that hill over where Trevor and Stab are at now. So they're now forced into this low ground positioning. Lost a member, don't get either of the two control points that they wanted to play around. They have a nice defendable location down there towards the bottom. Also, a crate going to be landing right next to Mustache Dave. New circle pops, and after all of that work and getting pushed out by Player One Esports, they move to a location that is not in the new safe zone.
I think Denial and Oxy can get a lot of points out of this game. They're in a really good spot.
Oh, I mean, Denial has been just fragging out of their minds, and you know that they have to be in such an absolutely great mood for this. Space Station Gaming on the move, on foot, creeping up right next to Elevate. They keep getting caught up with all these teams right on the side of it. Now, here comes the question, can they get through this? You can see Elevate's already in a little bit of a gatekeeping spot. It's going to come down to who hits their shots, who gets that necessary down. It's a little bit back and forth at the time. Tickleton's going back and forth with Winner at the time, but D-Master actually goes down first. But there's the retaliation, as it looks like Godku's going to take a lot of damage and get flushed off of it. Now Chubba Bubba's trying to play this angle, but Huyn goes down as well. Smurf's in a lot of trouble. It is just him and Vexel. Look at this. We got Pax on this outside push. He is just taking shots at anybody from Space Station Gaming that has to move away from where Tickleton's shots are raining down at. So Chubba Bubba managed to flush out H-Win, but now Where is Space Station gonna go? They've got a 2-point press coming at them. They've got to flank off to one side. They need to get Pax.
Yeah, this is a really nice flank by Pax, but he has to be so careful. Right now, his presence down there is enough of a distraction for Space Station. He doesn't even really need to take shots at this point. He just needs to not die, try to open up the angles for Tickleton and the rest of Elevate to try to get in here and finish off SSG.
And this is a good play from SSG if they're trying to push into Pax and take him down. And then it'll make the fight a lot easier for them.
It's what they have to do. It's their survival right now. They have to get rid of this thorn that is literally at their side. They're only allowed to play next to trees and rocks. So the longer he stays here means that they cannot take anyone else from Elevate. There it comes. A nice grenade coming out from Vexel. Now it is turned into a 2v2. And it's going to be an uphill battle coming out for Space Station Gaming. But how are they going to play this? Tiggleton takes a lot of damage, drops back behind the Dacia. We do also have Chubba Bubba playing on the Dacia right next to it. A little bit of information trying to come out from Pax, but the circle's coming through, so that means that Space Station Gaming is trying to make their way up this hillside. They managed to get to one rock. Now they're going to try to use the cover out. Grenades are rolling right down next to Smurf. That's a lot of damage. He just has to drop down to try to survive. It is a literal uphill battle coming out from Space Station Gaming, but Chubba Bubba spots the one, gets down Smurf. Now it is just Vexel. He's got the blue coming in. The grenade's going to land right next to him. That's going to do a ton of damage and take him down. Space Station Gaming is eliminated in 14th place.
Good night, Sweet Prince. Great play by Elevate there. They only have 2 remaining, but that is a huge fight for them. They have 2 remaining to get a little bit more placement and already 5 kills worth of points as we cut to this 3-way fight now between Denial, Trifecta, and Sonics.
Looks like we got a little bit of the King of the Hill going on over here as it's Trifecta lost 2 members onto one side. Sonic's trying to make it up. Denial just has control over this hillside. Everybody's having to peek up very slowly back and forth around. You can see Smithy trying to spot out any movement towards the top, but Denial and the rest of them, they're just holding this so well, and that's going to be Trifecta losing another member. Darius is outside in the blue right now just listening to this fight. Sonics are just all huddled along this hillside. Denial realizes it might be a little bit too risky, so instead, going to start making their way, trying to meet back up with Carbon, who's separated out, already got them a control point, and look, Carbon's control point is inside the new safe zone. Oxy, you are smack dab in the middle of this circle, running a 4-man split. Well, I guess I should say a 2-1-1 split. What do you think about this? Do you think it's safe for Oxy? Do they need to regroup? Is it fine to stay in this and just try to control the positioning?
I don't mind the split right now. I think they need to be looking at ways they can get kills right now. If they're getting all the circles, get these kills and cement themselves a good position going into the next games.
I mean, it's really true. We often find that the guys that get the circle favor, everybody fights on the edge around them, so they don't necessarily manage to get those kills. With the split, that might enable them. They do have Jason back down towards the bottom of this, right next to the edge. They've got Elevate off to one side. Lazarus is going to have to move in, but they'll probably just make their way along this hillside. Elevate finally getting a couple of shots coming their way from Jason. We talked about the push that might be coming out from them. That's going to force them to hide back down over here, but Elevate already at 5 kills at this stage.
Yeah, Elevate's looking really nice coming from the south side here, but Oxy has them dead to rights here, and if Lazarus starts moving over here from the eastern side, Elevate could be in a lot of trouble. They need to make a move here.
Elevate looks back over towards Lazarus, trying to take them down as they go for the reposition. Elevate is inside the safe zone just narrowly. They're going to go ahead and take down Fozu, pick themselves up a lot, but wow, that was a great shot. Chubba Bubba looking back over at his last remaining teammate, throws him a smoke, wants to try to get some type of cover, but looks like a lot of little small skirmishes are happening around the map as people are trying to move in. Is this going to allow Oxy to get into a position to maybe counter-snipe both of these? Looks like they're still playing down towards the low ground and don't have a view at Lazarus just quite yet.
Well, now we're getting over to Noble versus Crew. Looks like Crew tried to run up on them. They got taken down. Waldo's going to fight back and get one down and a flush. Adacula's coming around. No, that's going to do it for Team Crew going out in 12th place now. Noble still feeling pretty strong here on the northwestern side, but they have Lego Your Ego pushing right down their necks.
Noble at 5 kills already. They're needing an absolutely huge game. Hanging out the bottom of the leaderboard. Third line's going to take a couple of bullets coming out from Edac. Looking back on that hillside, Z9's getting ready to throw the grenade. That arc looks like it could be good. You can see it just bouncing right over their heads. Edac takes a ton of damage, but does not go down. The blue slowly creeping in. That could spell a lot of trouble for Edac. He has to stay ahead of it. Walt Jr. starting to run through, but it's going to be Mustache Dave that steps up and just starts tearing apart Lego Your Ego. Edac looks over towards Z9, gets a little bit more damage. They're both eating a ton of blue, trying to stay ahead of it, but that's going to get Noble eliminated. Z9 does manage to get a nice angle onto this. Now it's just about running into the safe zone, trying to recoup. take a breath, figure out what's going on. As you can see off in the distance, Player One Esports on that high ground looking at everyone.
Noble going out pretty early there, but picking up a nice chunk of points for themselves. Something that they needed in this first game, something to maybe start that snowball rolling. The new circle has popped. We are going north. Oxy still looking super strong in their position in that defilade.
They've got control off to one side. They can regroup. They have the building complex, but now is the focal point. Everybody's going to know somebody's going to be in there, and a couple of teams might think about making the push. One I know for certain that might contemplate it is Denial just up to their north. These guys love to run and gun, but look towards the north. There are so many solos just spread out all around Denial. They could pop up at any given point and maybe do enough damage to take out one or two of their members and really pull them apart.
I think Oxy need to start thinking about regrouping, looking to get some kills.
It's almost as if I caster cursed him as Theros pops up and gets the down onto Disciple there. That's going to force everybody from Denial turn around, get the down off of it. So they're going to go ahead and take out Theros, but that is going to slow down their push as that was the last man for Trifecta. So you can see on the minimap they're all having to turn back around. J-Sank holding this angle. J-Sank has had such amazing games for Oxy. We've seen him get 12 kills just by himself, and he has so many targets that are about to be approaching as we have 9 teams and 20 alive. That should let you know how weak some of these teams are already.
Yeah, Oxy needs to be careful here. They've got Sonics just off to their east, rolling as a 4-man death squad right now. Although Sonics not really taking advantage of their strength right now. Although, okay, they only have 3, but you see Sub-Zero trying to stay alive for a little bit longer, creeping in. He's still very much out of circle. He's got to go down right into the waiting laps of Sonics here.
Lazarus hasn't managed to get a kill as of yet. We talked about they were just on the cusp of making their way into that top 6. They need a great performance, and Sub-Zero, all the weight is on his shoulders right now. He has to survive for them. He has to try to get them some type of placement points. He's not going to be able to frag out against all these teams unless he has the perfect opportunity. Everybody now just caught up on edges and getting information.
Also worth pointing out, we have 2 other solo players. Los HD from Mustache Dave still alive all by himself on the northwestern side of the circle. And Overconfidence Keenan, a unsung hero from yesterday, from this whole weekend, still alive for Overconfident.
Dude, Keenan is so big right now. Let's talk about this.
Keenan's so hot right now.
He really is. He's the #2 fragger in all of the relegations. He's right back behind Taylor J at 17, and he has pulled out some crazy plays all by himself. You can see him back down towards the south, right in between Oxy and I believe it was Player One Esports, which isn't necessarily the best place to be. Sub-Zero right now. I mean, this is just so quiet. He's just creeping down. He's fine with taking the blue damage. He just wants to try to get to safety and not let anybody hear him. He can hear all the footsteps around him. He's like, please, just leave a little bit. No, there's no space. He had to run. And there you go. Sonics now hears it. Landoon's trying to figure out where it's at. Gonna step up into it. Landoon does not allow it. And there we go. Landoon getting a little bit of damage for himself.
Feels so bad there for Sub-Zero. He creep walked it all the way and then just misjudged a little bit where the circle was going to be ending. Had to run and let Landoon know exactly where he was. Credit to Sonics, though, right on top of that, making sure they clear out that snake.
Z-Knight Mardonis over here on the other side of the circle. Looking back over, they know that they have Denial on one side. They're fairly weak. Lost is the solo that's still remaining, hanging out over there next to Player One Esports, who's approaching down to their southwestern side. So trying to get as much information as they can. Los, this is so nerve-wracking. You just have to watch everybody just creep by you. Pray everybody is so caught up in looking for people on the horizon they don't see you. And Los just sits there, and you can see he's spinning around. He's like, okay, well, I'll just let you do the work for me. Go ahead and clear this out, guys. Go fight them. I'm just going to crawl this way. Are they going to look back this direction? Nope, he is out of there. He's like, I don't want to have anything to do with what's about to happen.
Talk about a clench moment there for Los HD. He's going to get away with it, too, as he makes his way into the western part of this circle. But now Oxy getting involved with Sonics.
They can no longer just hang out on this side of it. They've got to contend with all these people that are pushing up towards them. Nice couple of grenades are starting to come through. None of them quite connecting as of yet. But it's going to be Player One Esports that gets some damage onto Clam on the outside, forces him to reposition. Landoon gets knocked by a grenade that he threw out before that, though. So starting to get more and more control of this. Oxy has been holding this down, and they want to keep this. Tony V takes a lot of damage on the front. J-Sank steps up and decides to take it. Now Smithy in a lot of trouble, but he managed to spot out Basher. It does not matter. Sonics gets taken down, and Oxy nets themselves even more kills, and they'll start to get more control of this part of the circles. Now, Player one Esports walking right down into Lego Your Ego, doing a little bit of damage. Denial still on the outside of this, slowly and steadily getting more and more weakened from all of these fights. Player one Esports, 6 kills at this stage, and I believe should be able to get back up this res. As we already saw Dave ran away from this. It was like, nope, don't have it.
Yeah, Player One Esports currently inside the new circle. They can get this res off. They do get this res off. It's now Oxy controls the southern side of the circle by themselves, with the exception of overconfidence. Keenan still alive and still kicking. P1 Esports does get the circle, however, and that roadside has some nice little angles to play.
And so with this, we're going to go ahead and listen in on Oxy's comms real fast to let you know what's going on with them.
P1E. P1E has full 4 up, pretty sure.
LYE was up. P1E's in the field?
Yeah. P1E's in the field.
They're right here.
They had a US 4, yeah. They have also full level 3.
Could the...
Yeah, just... Yeah. They were at a cluster of rocks north.
I see him. He's left side of the road, left side of the smoke on the road. We don't have much to play. I don't have any smokes either.
He's peeking right side of the smoke, 305. Tag him once.
I tagged him, but he headshot me. I don't have any smokes. Do you guys have smokes?
Those guys could get pressured.
You want me to smoke you?
No. I'm good.
Yo, there's 2 guys on orange, and there's people on blue.
There might be a snake then. If
There is. There's a snake
There's
somewhere.
a snake in the north. Yeah, he's north
see if you
somewhere.
can find that
He
guy.
has to be.
That's a placement point to kill.
Kyle.
I'm trying to find him.
Yeah, look for his ass.
I can't see him, dude.
You're probably behind those
There's
rocks.
I'm looking at
grass.
P1E right now. I'm trying to hold P1E.
Just occasionally look for it, Jason. Yeah, I bet you he's somewhere around there.
He has to be.
Yeah.
Unless he's back behind me at
Nah,
the rock.
dude.
Who's throwing the frags?
Not sure.
Dude, P1E might be pressuring that orange team. You never know. That's probably what you'd see in the frags.
Could it be 4-3-3?
It's possible. I think it's Snake 2, then P1E. That's my thing.
Well, if this fight happens, we need to be ready to go.
Yeah, 100%. P1E has a full level 3 gear set, as I said.
I just don't have any smokes, dude. Okay,
If you guys don't find a
not
snake
behind me.
Yeah, if you don't find a snake, then it's probably 4-3-3.
It's
All right,
center.
here we go. Final zone, boys.
I don't see that guy.
They might fight each other.
Near the tree, 330 on the other side of the road. Head peeking.
P1E might just be
Pass
playing the
peeking.
field then.
That could be. Wait, is Low still alive? Did we ever see Low die? Maybe. he's still alive.
Maybe. Not sure.
I don't know.
Focus on
Smokes
now.
down.
Last of Dave I saw was
Watch out, Nate.
Micro.
That's my smokes. I'm smoking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is Los. It is Los. He is a snake. You got the right. Okay, go. One of P1E's knocked.
Across the street.
I'm throwing smokes out.
It's OC and P1E. You got this, guys.
Wrap in north of me.
Nice, Basher. Nice. Little bowl in front of you guys. A little bowl in front of you guys. You can play, Basher. You see it right now in front of you.
Yeah. I don't know if it's free though.
Yes, prone above it. West 280, prone above that little bowl there.
Does anybody have
Moving
nades?
north. Yeah.
Nade that top smoke.
Hit one twice, hard.
Left to left, Jason. A little bit left. Yeah, right there.
I got
Jason,
one
right
more.
there.
I got one more.
Just push it. Push it, boys. Push him. Push this motherfucker.
I got my nade off. He's straight 280.
And there we go, everybody. We can't say that what he just said, but let's go.
LFG, baby.
Let's go. Oxy coming up with them. Nice victory for themselves there. Wrapping it up with, I believe that is 11 kills at the end of that.
What? I mean, I gotta say, I feel kind of bad. I thought that they were sitting a little bit low on the kill count. Well, what do? They come in with 11 kills and a first place finish and a great performance. Just controlling the map as well, and you can hear those comms were so good. I loved their comms. I don't know what you think, Micro.
Hey, I said they had to get some kills, and they went out and got them. They played their game really well.
I mean, they just followed through off of it. You could hear they were saying, okay, we have an idea on who's where, trying to make plays based off of it, trying to make the push, made the logical, and even actually managed to remember which teams were in what positions, played around it. We had Player One Esports that came back behind that. Nothing to like sneeze at. They managed to get themselves 8 kills in second place. Back behind that, Keenan only got 1 kill, but managed to move into 3rd place for his team. Back behind that, Mustache Dave and Denial starting to see a lot of repeat names popping up in these top 5 spots.
Well, that's good news, though, for the rest of the teams that are trying to find their way into the top 6. That Mustache Dave and Denial are still out there kind of harvesting these points for themselves. So that kind of gives them a little bit less for everybody else to have. So, but I mean, you can't talk about Oxy enough. That was such a well-played game for them. I mean, they did everything that they needed to do and did it perfection.
And I know what you're saying. Oh, they got the circle. Yes, they did get the circle, but then they did play around it properly. They were making sure to defend it. Remember, they did the spread out. They managed to get control over different areas. They didn't let any teams approach on top of them. Sonics got pretty close, but then took a couple of the grenades for the face for it. But overall, a very solid defense coming out.
Oh, they held Sonics really well.
Yeah.
I mean, that particular area of the map, I mean, while it is, you know, it's great to get the circle, that particular area that they were in, not exactly easy to control. I mean, there's a number of ways that teams can come in and push you.
Yeah, I'd have liked to have seen Denial push down into them, but they looked scared, and it just gave Oxy all the ground they needed.
They also had Player One Esports that was up there kind of messing with them, and I think knocked them down just a little bit. But let's get a little bit of insight from what happened inside that round from Oxy. Seltzer, you go ahead and take it.
Thank you guys so much. I'm down here with Basher, and this has been a phenomenal weekend for Oxymoron. Now, I want to talk about this last game here. You guys had a super intense last fight. My heart was pounding in the stands. What was it like for you?
It was amazing. Finally coming out, we got a little bit more frags than yesterday, and it felt really good just to come out fragging first game again.
Absolutely, 11 kills on the board, and I saw some love in chat for your circle luck. We've been talking about you guys finding your ways to the center of the circle, but this one in particular, I want to know how you calculate to make sure that you end up there, because there's some interesting factors with circle 3 to 4 that you guys can rely on.
Yep, so we started in North Georgia, as always. We ended up rotating. We know that Denial likes to take the observatory up on the top hill, and we ended up just rotating on the west side of the map, on the beach side, and we ended up taking that swamp area, and it just kind of ended right there, taking center compound, and it's coming.
Well, we got some insight into your comms this game as well. We had you guys up there on the board, and I have to say, our casters were impressed. I'm sure our analysts were impressed. You guys are super great on bringing a lot of important information to the front of the field and communicating with each other. So tell me how you achieve that.
Right now, our communication skills are just on point. Right before the game, we got in the huddle. We just made sure that we were going to come out here and play confident. As long as we play confident, we knew that we could come out here and beat most of these teams. We are a top 6 team, and we believe that we are, and we're here to stay.
And after the games this last weekend, are you making a concerted effort today to get more kills on the board?
Yeah, definitely. We wanted to get some more kills on the board just in case of that tie point, but we were really looking to come out here, get a win, and just secure our place in Phase 2.
All right, well, last question for you guys. All the talent got the opportunity to choose their top 6 to guess who is moving on. What would you say to the one person up there who chose Oxymoron?
Thank you.
You're welcome. We got more games coming up right after this break.
Yeah, we're back.